r/TIFU by not knowing I'd already been fired during my own Zoom meeting. Hashtag chunk 1, the perfect storm. The cursor blinks on my screen. 28 people are waiting for me to start the presentation. I take a breath, click the slide advancing button, and watch the Meridian Campaign Analytics dashboard appear on everyone's screen. This is the moment I've been preparing for all week, the moment I finally show what we've accomplished. The Morrison client team is on this call. My boss Derek is on this call. 3 executives from our corporate office are watching. This is the big one. Good morning, everyone, I say, clicking to the first real slide. Thank you all for joining us. I'm excited to walk you through the Q3 results for the Meridian campaign. When we started this project back in June, we set some ambitious targets, and I'm thrilled to report that we've exceeded nearly every single metric. I can see the Morrison team members in their little boxes, nodding. I see Derek in the top left corner, his face arranged in his typical expression, the one that says he's listening but mentally planning his next meeting. I hate that face. I've been seeing a lot of it lately. The past 4 months have been brutal, honestly. Derek has been riding me hard on every project, finding fault in work that I know is solid. Last month, the Meridian campaign brought in 3 new business inquiries from companies who saw our digital strategy and wanted to hire us for consulting. 3 new contracts. From my work. Derek had mentioned those wins briefly in a company meeting, but mostly I've watched him focus on what he calls areas for improvement in my execution. Meanwhile, his own projects have been quiet. Suspiciously quiet for someone in his position. I click to the next slide, showing the engagement metrics. As you can see, the content strategy we developed resulted in a 47% increase in qualified leads over the previous quarter. We also saw a 62% improvement in conversion rates once we implemented the audience segmentation I proposed back in August. I'm in the flow now. This is what I'm good at. Data storytelling. Finding the narrative in the numbers and making it compelling. I can feel the energy on the call, people are leaning in. I can tell. The email campaign component was particularly. Hey, Derek, can we grab you for a quick sidebar? The voice comes through the speakers. It's Patricia from HR. I can see her unmuted window, her face clearly visible on the call. Derek's hand moves to his mouse. But something seems off. His video doesn't minimize. His audio doesn't. I keep talking because I'm a professional and I'm 28 years old and I have something important to say about email conversion rates, but my eyes are tracking what's happening in Derek's video box. Derek is nodding. He's typing something. He's moving his cursor. Yeah, sounds good, he says. Let me just. He pauses. Waits. Then, actually, I can talk now. There's a rustling sound. The sound of someone else entering Derek's office, maybe, or perhaps opening a door I can't see. But the video keeps streaming. The microphone keeps broadcasting. We need to talk about Jordan, Patricia says. Her voice is clear. Crystal clear. My hands go very still on my keyboard. Is that on mute? Someone asks. It's Michael from the Morrison team. He's leaning toward his camera with that confused expression people get when something seems off. No one answers him. I should say something. I should unmute my camera and say, hey, I think Derek's still on the call with his mic open. I should be professional. I should help him. But my body has gone very cold and very still, and Patricia is still talking. We've made the decision, Patricia is saying. We need to let them go. Today. The words hit me with the force of a physical blow. Let them go. Today. Me. They're talking about firing me. Right now. While I'm presenting. While 28 people are watching. My mouth continues to move. I'm somehow still talking about email metrics. It's like my body is on autopilot. My voice sounds normal to my own ears, that's the terrifying part. Like I'm not falling apart. Like my entire professional life isn't imploding in real time while I'm literally mid-sentence in front of every important person in my company's ecosystem. The performance issues have been consistent, Derek's voice says, and I feel each word like a punch. Jordan's not a good fit for the team. The quality of work just isn't meeting expectations. What? The quality of work? My work brought in 3 new client contracts. My work has a 47% engagement increase. I'm literally displaying the receipts right now. Live. On screen. For everyone to see. I think it's best for everyone, Derek continues. We can have them clear their desk by end of day. I click to the next slide mechanically. It shows the ROI analysis. It shows that the Meridian campaign generated $240,000 in direct revenue against a $45,000 investment. It shows that I've been carrying this team while Derek takes bows and my boss talks about my performance issues to HR with his microphone on. The professionalism just hasn't been there, Derek is saying. I can feel eyes on me now. Not just seeing my slides. Seeing me. Seeing my face in that little camera box in the corner. The Morrison team is exchanging glances. Michael is typing something in the chat. The executives from corporate are very, very still. I've stopped talking about email metrics. The silence has become a presence on this call. Is Derek's audio still coming through? Michael asks. He's asking it into the void, but we all hear him. We all know the answer. Yeah, one of the corporate executives says quietly. We're getting everything. Everything. The word hangs there. Derek's face finally appears again, he's moved back into his video frame. He looks confused. His hand is moving to his mouse. His eyes are starting to scan his screen. But it's too late. Because now Derek is looking at his video box. Now he's seeing all 28 people staring at him. Now he's realizing, or maybe just now realizing, that his microphone was never muted. That Patricia has gone very pale in her little video window. That I've stopped speaking entirely and I'm just sitting here, looking directly at the camera, and everyone on this call just heard him plan my execution while I presented the best work of my professional career. My heart is hammering in my ears. Derek's mouth opens. Patricia's hand moves to her face. The Morrison client leader unmutes to speak. And I realize, in that frozen moment, that I have approximately 30 seconds before this entire call descends into chaos, and that my life, my carefully constructed professional life, is about to become very, very complicated. Hashtag chunk 2, the unraveling. Derek, Patricia starts, but her voice cracks. She's muted herself now. Too late. The Morrison client leader, Robert, has his hand near his microphone, his jaw clenched like he's trying to decide whether to say something. Behind him in his office, I can see 2 other team members who've turned their chairs toward his monitor. They're watching this unfold like people witnessing a car crash in slow motion. Derek's face has gone the color of old cement. I watch as his hand moves frantically across his desk, looking for something, his mouse, probably. He's trying to regain control of the situation, trying to find the mute button that would have already saved him if he'd actually clicked it in the first place. But his movements are panicked now, jerky. He knocks something, a pen cup, maybe, and I hear it scatter across his desk. Sorry, technical difficulty, he says, but his voice is wrong. It's the voice of someone who knows exactly what just happened and is experiencing the full-body horror of it in real time. One of the corporate executives, Jennifer, I think, Senior VP of Operations, unmutes. Her face is very carefully arranged into a neutral expression, which somehow makes everything worse. Derek, I think we should pause this presentation, she says evenly. Her eyes flick toward me for just a fraction of a second, then back to Derek's video box. Let's all take 5 minutes. I can explain, Derek says immediately. That conversation was completely taken out of context. Patricia and I were just. 5 minutes, Derek, Jennifer repeats, and there's something in her voice that stops him cold. Not anger exactly. Something colder than that. Professionalism applied like a knife. The call doesn't end. We all just sit here in this frozen moment while Derek's camera stays open, his face still visible, his mouth still half open like he's trying to decide whether to keep digging this hole or stop talking. Patricia's window shows her staring at her lap. The Morrison team is completely silent, the kind of silence that feels louder than noise. My phone buzzes on my desk. Then again. And again. I don't look at it. I can't look away from my monitor. I'm watching Derek process the fact that his entire office knows he just tried to fire me during my own presentation, in front of a client, in front of corporate executives. I'm watching him realize that every excuse he's about to make is going to sound hollow against the context of those numbers on my screen, the 47% engagement increase, the 62% conversion improvement, the $240,000 in direct revenue. The chat is going crazy now. I can see messages popping up. Asterisk, what is happening? Asterisk, Michael Morrison. Asterisk, did anyone else hear that? Asterisk, someone from corporate whose name I can't quite place. I need to call you back, an actual client contact who was apparently on the call. Oh God. An actual client. A prospective one, maybe. Someone from outside the company who just heard Derek badmouth my work while simultaneously displaying evidence that my work is excellent. My Slack notifications are going off silently on my second monitor. I can see the little red badge accumulating in the corner. People are messaging me. Multiple people. My coworkers, probably, or... God, I don't even know. The team. Client contacts. Derek's hand finally finds his mouse. His video box disappears from the grid, which means he's either muted his camera or left the call entirely. I'm betting on left the call. He can't face this. He can't face me looking directly into that camera while everyone on this call processes what they just heard. The Morrison team's chat messages continue. We should disconnect, Robert says, and I watch him actually start to move his mouse toward the leave button. Of course they're leaving. Why would they stay? They came to see a presentation about campaign results, not to watch an HR disaster unfold in real time. Mr. Morrison, before you go, I hear myself say. My voice sounds thin. Reedy. Not like my professional voice at all. I apologize for this situation. I can reschedule the presentation for later in the week if that's more convenient. Robert's hand pauses. He looks at the camera, at me specifically, and his expression does something complicated. That's not necessary, he says carefully. I think we got the important information. The numbers speak for themselves. He pauses. This was unexpected. But the work looks solid. Really solid. We'll be in touch about next steps. It's the smallest kindness, and it absolutely destroys me. My eyes get hot. Thank you, I manage. Robert disconnects. His 2 colleagues follow. The Morrison window closes, and I feel like I'm watching them leave a sinking ship. Jennifer is still on the call. She's looking directly at her camera now, directly at me. Jordan, she says, and her voice is different. Not warm exactly, but not cold either. Professional, but with something underneath it. I want you to know that I'm going to need you to send me that presentation deck and any supporting documentation. And I'm going to need you to document everything about this call and this situation. Do you understand? I nod, even though she can't see the full gesture through the small camera at the top of my monitor. Yes, I say. I understand. Don't communicate with Derek about this before we talk, she adds. And don't delete anything. Nothing from this call, nothing from your email, nothing from your projects. Keep it all. My stomach drops. That language. Keep it all. That's legal language. That's the kind of thing people say when they're thinking about lawsuits and documentation and protection. Okay, I say. We'll set up a meeting for tomorrow morning, Jennifer continues. You, me, Patricia, and our legal team. In the meantime, just take the rest of today. Go home. Take care of yourself. This situation is not what it appeared to be, and we're going to figure out what actually happened here. She disconnects. The silence is complete now. My screen shows only a blank Zoom meeting interface and a clock counting the seconds I've been muted. 28 minutes and 47 seconds I've been on this call. 28 people who heard Derek discuss firing me. An unknown number of external contacts who were apparently watching. My second monitor is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Slack messages are stacking up. My email is probably filling with messages right now. My phone has buzzed maybe 30 times. I can't look at any of it yet. Instead, I just sit in my desk chair in my apartment, staring at the blank Zoom screen, and try to process what just happened. Derek tried to fire me. In front of everyone. While I was presenting proof of my own success. The company's VP of operations is taking it seriously enough to involve legal. I'm apparently supposed to preserve evidence of everything. And somewhere in an office down the street from here, Derek is realizing that his plan to use me as a scapegoat just became very, very complicated. My phone rings. It's my mom. I don't answer. I'm not ready to explain any of this yet. Instead, I minimize the Zoom window and open my email to see exactly how bad this has gotten. The first message in my inbox is from Derek. Sent 3 minutes ago. Subject, misunderstanding from earlier. I don't open it. Hashtag chunk 3. I stare at Derek's email subject line for a full minute before I move my cursor away from it. My instinct is to open it, to read whatever explanation or threat or manipulation he's about to try, but Jennifer's words are echoing in my head. Don't communicate with Derek about this before we talk. That's lawyer talk. That's the kind of instruction that means anything I say or do right now could be used against me, or for me, depending on how this plays out. So I don't open it. Instead, I click through to the next message. It's from Robert Morrison. Subject, thank you. My hands actually shake as I open this one. Jordan. Asterisk, I wanted to reach out before we formally disconnect. What happened today was unprofessional, to say the least, but I wanted you to know that I recognize quality work when I see it. The numbers you presented were genuinely impressive, and that kind of consistent growth is rare, asterisk. Asterisk, regardless of what's happening internally with your company, I'd like to continue conversations about the partnership we discussed. My team was interested before this incident, and we remain interested after. We'd prefer to work with you directly if possible, but I understand that may not be feasible depending on what comes next, asterisk. Asterisk, if you need a character reference or professional recommendation moving forward, please don't hesitate to reach out. Your work speaks for itself, asterisk. Best. Robert Morrison. I read it 3 times. Then I screenshot it. Then I read it a 4th time to make sure I'm not hallucinating the most important words, work with you directly, and character reference. He's offering me an out. Not just professionally, but a life raft. If Derek destroys my reputation at this company, if they somehow manage to spin this narrative and fire me for cause, Robert Morrison, a major prospective client, just put in writing that he thinks I'm competent and professional. My Slack is absolutely exploding. I can see notification badges in the dozens now. I click over and start scrolling through the messages. From my coworker Marcus, what the actual fuck, sent 2 minutes ago. From someone named Taylor in the design department, asterisk, you good? Asterisk, 3 minutes ago. From Michael Chen, another marketing coordinator, dude that was insane, just now. And then, buried in the notifications, I see one from an unfamiliar name, Sandra Kowalski. The subject line reads, confidential, please read. Asterisk, I work in HR for a different division but was on that call listening to a project update. What I heard was highly irregular and potentially actionable. If you need support or guidance navigating what's coming, I'd recommend documenting everything immediately. I can't discuss this further via Slack, but if you need resources, I can help. Be careful with Derek's communications, asterisk. My heart rate spikes. Someone in HR just warned me about Derek. Someone official. Someone who understands the system. I'm starting to realize the scope of what just happened isn't just humiliating, it's structurally significant. This isn't just a bad moment. This is the kind of moment that companies take seriously. Legal gets involved when there are witnesses. Legal gets involved when there's potential liability. Derek isn't just in trouble. Derek is in a kind of trouble that might end his career. The thought should make me feel triumphant. Instead, it makes my stomach churn. I never wanted this. I wanted to do good work and be recognized for it. I wanted to be left alone to do my job. I didn't want Derek's downfall. I just wanted Derek to stop undermining me. But now that it's happening, now that it's actually, undeniably happening, I realize I have no control over what comes next. My phone rings again. Different number this time. Unknown. I let it ring through to voicemail. 3 seconds later, another call comes in. Different number. I silence my phone entirely. Then I make a decision. I open a new folder on my desktop. I title it Documentation in all caps. And I start saving everything. I download the Zoom recording directly from my computer's file system. Thank God I was the host and had local recording enabled. I export the Zoom chat logs. I screenshot every message in Slack related to today. I go through my email and start collecting every message Derek has sent me over the past 6 months, every instance where he took credit for my work, every time he positioned me as the problem in a project that succeeded despite his involvement. It takes 2 hours. 2 hours of sitting in my desk chair, methodically building a case against my own boss, while my apartment is completely silent except for the sound of my mouse clicking and the occasional notification pinging. By 5 p.m., I have a folder with 47 files. Presentation decks. Email chains. Slack conversations. Meeting notes I'd kept in a personal document, thank God for my obsessive documentation habits. Performance review comments where Derek praised my initiative, while simultaneously criticizing my lack of leadership direction, which, I now realize, is corporate speak for, she did the work but I want to make sure I'm the one who looks like I led the team. It's damning. It's all completely, totally damning. And it's all mine now. Safely backed up. Documented. Preserved. I lean back in my chair and realize I'm shaking. Not from fear anymore. From something else. Adrenaline, maybe. The feeling of having agency in a situation that felt completely out of control just a few hours ago. My landline rings, the phone I haven't used in months and somehow Derek still has the number for. I let it ring. Then my apartment buzzer sounds. Someone downstairs wants to get into my building. I freeze. It's 5:47 p.m. I'm not expecting anyone. I don't buzz them in. After about 30 seconds, the buzzer stops. Whoever it was, they're gone. I close my laptop and lock it. I lock my front door, even though I'm already inside. I pull my blinds. And I sit on my couch in the dark for a long time, watching the notification badges accumulate on my phone, which I've turned face down on the cushion next to me. Tomorrow I have a meeting with Jennifer and the legal team. Tonight, I have evidence. And somewhere across the city, Derek is figuring out that his plan to use me as a scapegoat just became the worst decision of his professional life. #Chunk4. I don't sleep that night. Not because I'm not tired, I'm exhausted in a way that feels like it's burrowed into my bones, but because every time I close my eyes, I see Derek's face from the moment he realized the mic was unmuted. That split second of pure panic before he tried to play it off. The way his mouth opened like he was going to say something, then closed again. The sound of HR asking if they should end the call while my entire professional reputation was being dissected like a lab specimen. Around 2 a.m., I give up pretending I'm going to sleep. I make coffee and sit at my kitchen table with my laptop, reading through everything I've saved. Not for any productive reason, Jennifer specifically told me not to organize it or prepare a narrative that would look coached if this goes to litigation, but because I need to understand exactly what I have. The Zoom chat logs are particularly brutal. While Derek and Jennifer were having their sidebar, people were still messaging in the main chat. Robert Morrison asked a clarification question about the campaign timeline. Michael Chen sent a thumbs up emoji on one of my slides. And then, at 2:34 p.m., exactly when Derek's mic accidentally unmuted, someone, I think it was Robert, typed, "Is everything okay?" Audio seems to be picking up side conversation. I screenshot that message 3 times. It's timestamped. It's dated. It's proof that people knew something was wrong and were professional enough to flag it. That detail matters somehow. I'm not sure how yet, but Jennifer will know. My phone buzzes. Even at 2 a.m., it's still getting notifications. I've stopped reading them. The badges have reached 127 unread messages across Slack, email, and text. I assume some are supportive, some are gossip, and some are probably Derek's allies trying to figure out what's happening. I don't have the emotional capacity to parse it right now. Instead, I open my work calendar and realize something that makes my stomach drop. Derek has scheduled a meeting with me. Tomorrow. At 9 a.m. Before my meeting with Jennifer and legal. The meeting invite is titled, "Check-in," with no description. Sent at 11:47 p.m. So late it almost feels stalkerish. I immediately screenshot this too and add it to my documentation folder. This is what Sandra Kowalski from HR warned me about. Be careful with Derek's communications. This is careful. This is calculated. Derek wants to talk to me before I talk to legal. He wants to control the narrative, or worse, get me on a recorded call saying something that contradicts the evidence, or something he can twist into insubordination. I delete the notification but don't respond to the invite. Jennifer said to let the legal team handle communication decisions. This is the kind of decision they need to handle. By 6 a.m., I've read the Zoom recording transcript 3 times and I've identified 17 separate instances where Derek made false statements about campaign attribution. Not exaggerations. Not gray area corporate speak. Straight up lies. He claimed credit for initiatives that were 100% my work, with email timestamps to prove it. He blamed me for delays that were caused by his own approval bottlenecks. He said my approach lacked strategic vision when describing a campaign that exceeded its targets by 34%. The evidence is so comprehensive it's starting to feel unreal. Like I'm building a case that's almost too perfect, too documented. Real life doesn't usually come with this kind of clarity. Real life is usually messy and ambiguous and full of he said she said. But this isn't he said she said. This is he said she said while a room full of people and cameras recorded it. At 7:30 a.m., I shower and get dressed in a kind of outfit that says, "I'm professional and I have nothing to hide," dark blazer, neutral slacks, the works. I'm presenting myself to a legal team that I've never met before to discuss the dismantling of my boss's career. The stakes are somehow higher than the actual Zoom call yesterday, because now this is official. Now this is real. My apartment buzzer sounds at 8:15 a.m. I nearly jump out of my skin. It's too early. My meeting with legal isn't until 9 a.m. and it's not at my apartment. I grab my phone and press the intercom. Yes. Ms. Jordan Chin. A man's voice. Unfamiliar. My mouth goes dry. Who is this? I'm here on behalf of Derek Paulson. I need to. I don't let him finish. I buzz him away and immediately lock my door. My hands are shaking again, but this time it's different. This time it's anger mixed with fear, which is a much more volatile combination. Someone, and I'm going to take a wild guess that it's some kind of HR associate or low-level manager, just showed up at my apartment at 8 a.m. Before my legal meeting. To talk to me, on behalf of Derek. This is bad. This is the kind of bad that means Derek is panicking and doing things that are probably going to make his situation worse. This is the kind of bad that you need a lawyer for. I call Jennifer's number directly. It goes to voicemail. I call the main legal department number that was on the email and get transferred 4 times before reaching someone named Marcus, who is apparently the paralegal on my case. He did what? Marcus says, and I can hear him sitting up straighter even through the phone. I explain about the buzzer, about the mysterious man who claimed to be here, on behalf of Derek, about the 9 a.m. meeting invitation that arrived at nearly midnight. Okay, Marcus says, and I can hear him typing. That's actually helpful for us. And very much not helpful for him. Don't open your door for anyone. Don't respond to Derek's meeting invitation. We're going to have Jennifer call you in 10 minutes and we're going to walk you through exactly what to say if anyone else shows up. Is this normal? I ask. Can he do that? Can he? Marcus says. Legally. Depends on the state and the nature of the contact, but he's definitely pushing boundaries right now. Should he? Absolutely not. And we're going to document it. After I hang up, I sit on my couch and realize something I didn't expect to feel. I'm not scared anymore. I'm focused. Derek's panic is showing, and his panic is giving me ammunition. This is no longer about whether people believe me or whether there's evidence. This is about Derek making mistake after mistake after mistake while I document every single one. And somewhere across the city, I bet Derek is realizing that too. #Chunk5. Jennifer calls exactly 9 minutes later, as promised. Marcus briefed me, she says without preamble. How are you holding up? I almost laugh because the question feels absurd. A man I've never met just showed up at my apartment. My boss is apparently willing to escalate in ways that suggest he knows how much trouble he's in. But I say, I'm okay. Focused. Good. That's good. Jennifer's voice has a different quality now, less HR professional, more actual lawyer. I'm going to be direct with you. What Derek just did, attempting to contact you directly before you've retained counsel, after you've already been terminated, that's a textbook intimidation tactic. It's also potentially illegal depending on how he frames it and whether he continues trying. I need you to document everything. I already am, I say. Better. Now, if anyone shows up at your door again, you don't answer. You call the police non-emergency line and report it. You don't engage, you don't threaten them, you just report it as unwanted contact. Do you understand? Yes. If Derek calls, texts, emails, or sends anyone else, you document it but you don't respond. Forward everything to me immediately. If he shows up at your door, same protocol. The key here is that we're not going to give him any ammunition to argue that you're being unreasonable or hostile. We're going to be the reasonable party who followed every rule while he spiraled. I write this down even though I know I'll remember it. The act of writing feels grounding. The other thing, Jennifer continues, is that I need to tell you something that might complicate this situation. I got a call this morning from someone in our firm who knows someone who works at your company. My stomach tightens. Okay. Word is spreading about what happened yesterday. Not the full story, just that there was an incident on the client call and that Derek might be in trouble. A couple of people from your company have already started reaching out to contacts, getting ahead of the narrative. What narrative? I ask, though I can guess. The misunderstanding narrative. That everyone's upset and things got said that shouldn't have been said but Derek is a good guy narrative. There's already someone sending emails to industry contacts saying that the situation is being handled internally and that Derek's reputation shouldn't be defined by one bad moment. I feel something cold settle in my chest. Of course. Derek isn't sitting at home panicking in isolation. He has allies. He has people who have benefited from his leadership, who owe him favors, who profit from his continued employment. The person who showed up at my apartment wasn't random. It was calculated. It was part of a coordinated effort. How many people know? I ask. I don't know the full scope yet, but I'm going to find out. This is actually something that works in your favor in some ways. It shows premeditation and coordination to manage the narrative, which suggests they know how bad this is. But it also means we need to move faster than I initially planned. What does that mean? It means I'm going to recommend that we file a formal complaint with your company's board within the next 48 hours, before this story gets completely distorted. It means we're probably going to copy the client companies on our initial letter because they're witnesses and stakeholders. And it means Derek's allies need to realize they're on the wrong side of this situation before they invest too much credibility in defending him. I hadn't thought about that angle, the preemptive letter to people who are actually in the Zoom call. The witnesses aren't abstract concepts. They're Robert Morrison from MediaCorp. They're Michael Chen from the creative agency. They're Margaret Whitmore, the CMO of our biggest client, who heard Derek claim credit for work he didn't do in front of her entire team. I need to ask you something, Jennifer says, and her tone shifts slightly. And I need you to be completely honest with me. Is there anything in your past work history, any performance issues, any conflicts with colleagues, anything that Derek could point to and say, see, this person was always problematic? I think about this carefully. There was one project 2 years ago where I missed a deadline. I had a family emergency, my mom had surgery, and I didn't prioritize a deliverable correctly. Derek was upset about it at the time, but we moved past it. It's not documented as a formal performance issue. Anything else? No. I've gotten positive reviews. I've been promoted twice. The only conflict I've had with anyone was with Derek, and looking back, I think it was always about him. Okay, Jennifer says. Here's why I'm asking. Derek is probably going to argue that you have a history of performance issues or interpersonal problems, and that he was trying to coach you through your deficiencies. He's going to try to reframe his behavior as management, not misconduct. We need to be prepared for that. Do you have your performance reviews? Yes. I can get them to you. Do that. Get me everything, emails commending you, metrics on campaigns you've worked on, anything that proves you were doing good work. We're building a profile that shows this wasn't about performance management. This was about scapegoating. After we hang up, I pull together my documentation, not the organized binder Jennifer warned against, but scattered across my desk in the order I find it. Performance reviews from the last 3 years. Email chains where clients praised my work. Screenshots of campaigns I led with their success metrics. Emails from Derek thanking me for work that he later claimed credit for. The stack gets bigger. It's simultaneously validating and devastating, proof that I was good at my job, and proof that I was good enough at my job that my boss couldn't tolerate someone else getting recognition for it. My phone buzzes. Derek has sent another email, this time to my personal address. Subject line, we need to talk. I don't open it. I forward it to Jennifer. By 10 a.m., I realize something unexpected has happened. The fear has transformed into something else entirely. It's not quite confidence, but it's close. It's the feeling of understanding the full scope of what's happening and knowing that I have evidence, witnesses, and now a lawyer who seems to understand exactly how badly Derek has miscalculated. Derek thought he could fire me quietly and move on. He thought he was the one controlling the narrative. He thought he had time. He was wrong on all 3 counts. And somewhere across the city, I hope he's finally starting to understand that. #Chunk6. The email from Margaret Whitmore arrives at 2:47 p.m. on Thursday, and it changes everything. The subject line is simple: need to discuss what happened. My first instinct is to forward it to Jennifer immediately, but I force myself to read it first. Margaret is the CMO of Brightline Industries, our biggest client, the account that Derek repeatedly took credit for during the Zoom call. She's also someone I've worked with directly for 8 months, someone who's reviewed my work, praised my strategy, and signed off on campaigns. Marcus. Asterisk, I'm not going to bury the lead here. Multiple people from your company have reached out to me today trying to explain away what happened on yesterday's call. I want to be clear about something: I heard everything. I was unmuted the entire time, and I recorded it, asterisk. Asterisk, I also want to be clear about what I heard. I heard your boss claiming credit for work you presented to me in person. I heard him call your work inconsistent and prone to error when every deliverable you've managed on the Brightline account has been on time and exceeded our expectations. I heard HR discussing terminating you while your microphone was still active, asterisk. Asterisk, here's my problem: I'm now being put in a position where your company wants me to pretend none of this happened. One of your executives called me this morning and suggested that the situation was a miscommunication and that Derek is a valuable leader who had an off moment. They asked me not to let this affect the business relationship, asterisk. Asterisk, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't work that way. And I don't think your company should expect a client to participate in covering up what amounts to professional misconduct. So I'm reaching out to you directly, asterisk. Asterisk, I'm not looking to insert myself into your internal drama. But if there's legal action or formal complaints being filed, you should know that I'm a witness and I'm willing to testify about what I heard and what I know about the work allocation on our account. I'm also going to be honest with my team about what happened, which means they'll know that Derek was misrepresenting their work, asterisk. Asterisk, that's a conversation that affects your company's reputation with us. I thought you should know that's coming whether or not you take action internally, asterisk. If you want to talk, my number is below. Margaret. I read it 3 times. Then I call Jennifer, not bothering with the preamble. Margaret Whitmore from Brightline just offered to testify and told me she's already being pressured to stay quiet, I say. She also said multiple executives from our company reached out to her. That sounds coordinated. I hear Jennifer's sharp intake of breath. Forward me that email right now. This is exactly what we need and exactly what we don't need at the same time. What do you mean? I mean it's perfect evidence that there's a cover-up operation happening. I mean it's a nightmare because it means Derek has already escalated to damage control with clients, which suggests someone higher up than him is involved. You said Derek panicked after the Zoom call. Panicked people don't coordinate multi-level client outreach. Someone told him to do this. The realization hits me like cold water. You think this goes higher than Derek? I think Derek is either following orders or taking advice from people above him. And I think we need to know who. Because if we're filing a complaint against Derek for misconduct, and that misconduct is part of a larger pattern within the company, that opens up different liability questions. More serious ones. I haven't thought about this escalation. In my mind, Derek was the problem. Derek was the bad actor. But Jennifer's right: the coordinated client outreach, the person showing up at my apartment, the multiple emails trying to persuade me, these aren't the actions of someone operating alone. These are the actions of someone operating with institutional support. What do we do? I ask. We accelerate everything. I'm going to call Margaret back myself and get a formal statement. I'm also going to start making some calls to people I know on your company's board to understand the power structure. And you need to think about whether there are any other conversations you remember. Any meetings where senior leadership discussed how to handle the fallout from the Zoom call. Any emails that suggest coordination. After we hang up, I try to do what Jennifer asked, mentally retracing conversations, parsing through the last 48 hours for evidence of a larger conspiracy. But my brain keeps getting stuck on something else: Margaret's willingness to go on record. She didn't have to do this. She's a CMO at a major company. She has no obligation to insert herself into my employment dispute. She loses nothing by staying quiet and letting my company handle it internally, which was presumably what the executives who called her were hoping for. But she called me directly instead. I don't know Margaret well beyond professional context. We've had maybe a dozen in-person meetings and dozens of video calls. She's always been professional, direct, and appreciative of the work I did on the Brightline account. But I've never considered us friends or even particularly close colleagues outside of business. The fact that she's willing to risk her company's relationship with mine to support what's right, that's something different. It's also terrifying because it means the scope of this situation is bigger than I realized. If Margaret is willing to go on record, other people might be too. The clients on that Zoom call represent millions of dollars in annual business. If they all decide that Derek's conduct was disqualifying, and if the company was trying to cover it up, that's not just an employment dispute. That's a business crisis. My phone buzzes with an email notification. It's from Derek, sent to my work email this time, the address that's presumably still forwarding to my personal inbox. Marcus. Asterisk, I think we got off on the wrong foot and I want to fix that. I realize the Zoom situation looked bad from your perspective, but I'd like to explain what was actually happening. I was trying to have a private conversation about next steps, but obviously the technical glitch caused some miscommunication, asterisk. Asterisk, I want to make this right. I'd like to offer you a severance package, a generous one, contingent on signing an NDA and non-disparagement agreement. This gives you a clean exit and a financial cushion to transition to your next role, asterisk. Let's talk. I read it twice, then forward it to Jennifer with a single question: is this what guilty people do? Her response comes back immediately: this is what people do when they know they're fucked and they're trying to buy silence. Do not respond. This email is going to be very useful. By 5 p.m., I have Margaret's formal statement in my inbox. She's outlined everything: the work allocation, the misrepresentation of credit, the lie about my performance, and the fact that she's been pressured to remain silent. She's also attached the recording she made of the Zoom call. I watched the timestamps. Jennifer has forwarded everything to a second lawyer at her firm who specializes in employment law. They're apparently working on the complaint now. The panic I felt 24 hours ago has been replaced by something stranger, the feeling of watching dominoes fall in slow motion, except I can't quite see where they're going to land. Derek thought he was offering me an off-ramp. He thought money and an NDA would solve this. He thought silence was still possible. He doesn't understand that silence became impossible the moment everyone unmuted. #Chunk7. By Wednesday morning, things have moved fast enough that I'm struggling to keep track of what I know versus what I'm inferring versus what Jennifer is telling me in lawyer speak that requires 3 reads to understand. Here's what I know for certain: Margaret's statement and recording are solid. Derek's severance email is legally catastrophic for him. Jennifer has filed a formal complaint with the company's HR department outlining wrongful termination, defamation, and what she's calling coordinated misconduct. The second lawyer, David Chen, who specializes in employment law and apparently has a reputation in this space, says Derek's offer of severance, in exchange for silence, is textbook hush money and makes our case significantly stronger. Here's what I'm inferring: Derek is in serious trouble. His attempt to cover this up with clients has backfired spectacularly. The power structure above him is probably having meetings I'm not part of and wouldn't want to be. Here's what Jennifer keeps telling me in careful, measured language: we need to be prepared for this to get worse before it gets better, and we need to think strategically about what happens next. I'm sitting in her office, the first time we've met in person, when she pulls up her email and shows me something that makes my stomach turn. I got this at 6 a.m., she says. The email is from Derek's personal lawyer, Thomas Whitmore, no relation to Margaret, though Jennifer has already looked this up. It's formal, aggressive, and structured like a warning shot. Derek is claiming that I recorded him without consent, which is technically true in some states, though we're in an all-party consent state where everyone on the call recorded it, and he's alleging that I'm selectively editing and misrepresenting the call to damage his reputation. He's also claiming that Margaret Whitmore has been improperly influenced to provide testimony that contradicts his version of events. He's going to claim I doctored the recording, I say. It's not a question. Yes, Jennifer confirms. And he's going to claim that Margaret, a major client who explicitly stated on record that your work exceeded expectations, has somehow been manipulated by you. This is a Hail Mary, but it's a Hail Mary that buys him time and muddies the waters. Can he do that? Can he just claim the recording is fake? He can claim it. Whether anyone believes him is another question. Which is why we need independent verification of the recording's authenticity, which we can get. And we need Margaret's testimony to be bulletproof, which it appears to be. Jennifer leans back in her chair. But here's what I'm concerned about: Derek's lawyer is also making what looks like a counterclaim brewing. He's suggesting that you are the one engaged in misconduct, specifically, recording without consent and using that recording to extort him into a favorable severance. The word extort hits different when it's aimed at you. I never asked him for anything, I say. I didn't contact him. He contacted me. He offered the severance. I know. And we have the email. But he's going to frame it as you using the recording as leverage, which is why he made the severance offer in the first place, to settle before you weaponize the tape against him. This is the part of lawyering I hate. The circular logic. The way everything can be reframed depending on who's telling the story first and who has more resources to tell it. What do we do? I ask. We keep moving. David is filing a response to Whitmore this afternoon. We're also reaching out to other people who are on the Zoom call, people in your company, to understand what they heard and whether they're willing to go on record. We're building a wall of testimony that makes it very hard for Derek to claim the recording is fake or selectively edited. What about the executives who contacted Margaret? I ask. Jennifer, you said you thought someone above Derek was involved. Have you found out who? She hesitates, which is answer enough. It's complicated, she finally says. The company has a general counsel, woman named Patricia Voss. She's the one who would have authorized any client outreach on this situation. But whether she authorized it because Derek asked her to or because someone asked her to remains unclear. What's clear is that if this goes up to the C-suite, the company's liability exposure becomes much larger. Which might explain why they're trying so hard to contain it. My phone buzzes. It's a text from a number I don't recognize. Hi Marcus, this is Julie Chen from your office. I was in the Zoom call yesterday. I think I should talk to someone about what happened. Can I call you? I show Jennifer the message. She nods slowly. That's good. That's actually really good. Can you respond and set up a call? But do it carefully, don't tell her what to say, don't ask leading questions, just let her tell you what she remembers. If she wants to provide a statement later, she will. Over the next 4 hours, I get 3 more texts. One from a designer on my team who says people in the office are talking, and she heard Derek was in serious meetings. One from someone in accounting who says the executive leadership team had an emergency meeting yesterday afternoon that ran for 2 hours, and HR was involved. One from someone I don't even recognize that just says, good for you, and doesn't provide any context about what they mean. By 5 p.m., I'm sitting in a coffee shop having a phone call with Julie Chen, who was apparently promoted to account manager 6 months ago after I helped train her on 3 separate campaigns. She tells me, in careful detail, what she heard on the Zoom call. She tells me that she's been confused about work allocation ever since I got fired because she knows I wrote the bright line brief that Derek presented as his own. She tells me that she's worried about her job and worried that if Derek isn't stopped, he'll do this to other people. Will you give a statement? I ask, trying to sound casual about it. I need to talk to my family first, Julie says. But yes. I will. Because this isn't right and I'm tired of pretending it is. After we hang up, I text Jennifer, Julie Chen wants to give a statement. The response is immediate, that's 3 independent witnesses now. Derek's defense is falling apart. But here's what I'm not telling Jennifer yet, because I'm not sure what it means. I'm feeling something underneath the relief and the momentum. Something that feels like dread. Because the bigger this gets, the more public it becomes, the more people involved, the more real the possibility becomes that this goes somewhere I can't control. The possibility that Derek is actually going to face consequences. Not just professionally, but legally, maybe. Maybe criminally if there's something in here that crosses that line. And I don't know if I want that, or if I'm supposed to want that, or if the wanting even matters anymore. Because I can't put this back in the box. The dominoes aren't just falling anymore. They're building momentum. Hashtag chunk 8, the falling dominoes. Thursday morning, Jennifer calls me before I'm even awake. Derek's been placed on administrative leave pending investigation, she says without preamble. The company general counsel just informed my office. They're taking this seriously. I sit up in bed, processing this. What does that mean? For me. It means the company is protecting itself. They're distancing from Derek before this becomes a larger liability issue. It also means they're going to try to settle with you quietly, probably a substantial severance, reinstatement if you want it, NDA, the whole package designed to make you go away. Do I want that? I ask. There's a pause. Do you? I don't answer immediately because I'm not sure. Part of me wants exactly that, the money, the vindication, the ability to move forward without this consuming my life. The other part of me thinks about Julie, about Margaret, about every person Derek's undermined or scapegoated. About the designer on my team who's worried about her future. About all the people still working under someone who views them as disposable stepping stones. I want him fired, I say finally. I want him actually fired, not administrative leave, which sounds like a paid vacation. Okay, Jennifer says, and I can hear the smile in her voice. Then we don't take their first offer. We keep pushing. By Friday, things have accelerated beyond anything I could have imagined. The company has launched an internal investigation. They've interviewed Margaret. They've interviewed Julie. They've interviewed 3 other people from the Zoom call. Someone leaked the story, and I'm 90% sure it was Julie based on the timing, to an industry newsletter called Marketing Insider, which published a story with the headline, Exposed, How One Manager Took Credit for Employees' Work Before Firing Her on Live Call. The article doesn't name me, but it names Derek by his first and last name. It names the company. It includes quotes from sources familiar with the situation, discussing Derek's pattern of behavior over multiple years. It mentions the recording. It mentions that the firing happened during a client presentation and that the entire interaction was witnessed by external parties. By Monday morning, Derek is no longer on administrative leave. He's been fired. The company's general counsel Patricia Voss calls Jennifer directly. She wants to meet. Not to negotiate, not yet. Just to meet and discuss the path forward. Jennifer brings me to this meeting, which takes place in a conference room that smells like expensive leather and air freshener. Patricia Voss is exactly what I'd imagined, silver-haired, sharp-eyed, dressed like she bills $500 an hour just for breathing. She shakes my hand and I notice her grip is firm and unsympathetic. I want to be direct with you, she says, sitting down across from me and Jennifer. What happened to you was inappropriate and unprofessional. The recording of a private conversation between management and HR was unauthorized, though your state's consent laws mean it was technically legal. Derek's subsequent behavior, attempting to silence you with a severance offer, his lawyer's threats, his defamation, was inexcusable and the company takes responsibility for not catching this sooner. She pulls out a folder. We are prepared to offer you the following: reinstatement to your previous position with immediate back pay for the period of your termination, a promotion to senior marketing strategist with a salary increase of 35%, a formal written apology from the company, and a severance package of $250,000 for the damages to your professional reputation and emotional distress. There will be an NDA regarding the specifics of this settlement, though you'll be free to discuss your experience more broadly. I look at Jennifer. She's giving me nothing, no nod, no indication of what she thinks I should do. Why are you offering this? I ask Patricia. Because you have a strong case. Because the alternative, a lawsuit that becomes public, depositions, potentially criminal charges if we dig deeper into Derek's conduct, would be far more expensive and far more damaging to the company. And because what happened to you is wrong, and this company wants to make it right. What about Derek? I ask. Is he facing anything beyond being fired? Patricia hesitates. That's not my decision. The police have the recording. If they determine a crime occurred, they'll proceed. But I can tell you that Derek's career in this industry is effectively over. He's already being contacted by journalists. His professional reputation is destroyed. His legal bills are substantial. In practical terms, he's experienced consequences. After she leaves, we ask for time to consider. Jennifer and I sit in silence. Are you going to take it? She finally asks. I think about Derek. I think about the version of myself I was 2 weeks ago, the one who walked into that Zoom call not knowing their entire professional world was about to collapse. I think about the person I'm becoming, someone who fought back, who had witnesses, who refused to disappear quietly. Yes, I say. But I want one thing added. What? I want the company to implement training on workplace ethics and accountability. Real training, not the bullshit checkbox diversity training. Something that actually changes how managers operate. And I want them to commit to reviewing Derek's past performance evaluations and the projects he took credit for, to make sure other people get proper attribution going forward. Jennifer actually smiles. That's good. That's really good. That's the kind of thing that creates actual systemic change. She's right. It is. 3 weeks later, I'm back at my desk. Not the same desk, they moved me to a better office, corner space with actual windows. My new title is on my business cards. My new salary is in my bank account. The severance they paid me could cover my rent for 2 years if I'm careful. But what matters more is that Julie got promoted to the role I was supposed to get before Derek sabotaged me. What matters is that the company launched a project attribution initiative to review past projects and ensure proper credit. What matters is that Margaret called me to say she's been recommending our company to other clients specifically because of how we handled the situation. What matters is that I'm not the girl who got humiliated on a Zoom call anymore. I'm the girl who survived it. Who turned it into something. Derek's lawyer stops calling. Derek's personal LinkedIn disappears. Word through industry contacts is that he's left the city, that he's exploring other opportunities, which is code for trying to rebuild his career somewhere nobody knows what he did. I don't feel triumphant about that. I feel relieved. Because the dominoes stopped falling. They stopped because I stood up and refused to be knocked over. And everyone watching learned that sometimes, when you have the truth and you have witnesses and you have the courage to fight, the dominoes fall in your favor instead.